From Texas, High New Skins, please go Faker. Well, if you're a Faker fan, and in game number 1, he's already locking in Echo when he played mid-Renekton and Kiana the last time out. You're feeling pretty good right now to see this pick coming out here. And as you mentioned, that Talia gonna have trouble in that mid lane for sure.
I actually really like SKT's draft here because after a few levels come in, they have two
Faker hopping onto the Echo here for game number 1. Let's hop into this game right now. Sandbox versus SKT. You get that fuller chant from the SKT side of things. As we mentioned earlier on, the biggest brand and fan base, I suppose you could say, in esports here in Korea, looking to climb through the gauntlet. They've already made it through the wild card, but their next opponent here is Sandbox, who are most likely eagerly watching those wild card games and just trying to get a read on SKT.
His Faker's 6th professional game on the Echo. Not going to be easy listening for the fans, but it's a negative win rate. Doesn't have a lot of those. With 2 and 3 on Echo, pick that he has not necessarily erred towards too many times, and at times that was a off-tank pick, right? Mostly in the top lane, but there has been tank Echo mid lane as well. Dove's only game of Talia in summer was his win over SKT in the first round robins. That's kind of an amusing statistic to reference there. Ghost 8-2 all-time on the Draven, so a big pick for them. I like what SKT has done, though, because they do have the support counter pick here. With the Karma, very easy to poke off the Black Shield. The cooldown even longer than it used to be. Cleared once again, starting red side, but he's spotted on a ward, and this is a very early Jarvan bot side, but the lane ward here makes it an unviable spot. That very early lane ward is not scouted out by Joker, because it was actually placed around 30 seconds into the game.
And you see the moment the minions aggro onto Morgana, they immediately know, and double scan comes out here. They're actually able to get both of the wards from that, but didn't want to use both of them right there.
And that's the next level of the jungle path here, as Clid and Unflake might actually meet, is that Sandbox were ready for this against Raven, but speaking of,
well, on Fleek's pretty awkward spot. Gonna try to flag and drag out of this one, but Faker on the chase, the flash on in. 1Q! He is gonna be able to dodge it there, so not quite able to pick up the kill. As Joker takes a ton of damage on the bottom side, and already SKT getting things going as Clid going deep in the enemy jungle.
Extra 10 damage on that E buffed on this patch. Almost the difference in picking up the kill. Clid able to chase out of the jungle. SKT had the next level on Sandbox's next level attempt. Remember, it was a red side start Sylas into early bot lane gank with double teleport to try to dominate the Draven lane that allowed them to take down a Freak of Freaks. Sandbox thought they had the tonic to that. They put down a ward on the Raptors. They see that Clid is going for that same start. Speaking of Clid, looking for another potential gank here.
Oh, that was a really nice seismic shove. Faker with no flash. One more auto is going to do it. And Dub will pick up the first blood here with a late 1v2, but mostly just Faker trying to beat that one and getting caught out.
Yeah, he knew his jungle was around mid, but didn't respect the heal flash still available on Talia. That rewrites all of SKT's good work in the early game. They read Sandbox's level 1 and play around bot lane like a book, but unfortunately, they didn't have the magazine about the mid lane misplay. Faker can teleport back in. He won't lose a lot of lane control. But here's the replay. Largely a result of having the jungler mid lane. And what an amazing seismic shove prediction there by Dove.
That is so hard to hit, let me tell you guys. If you don't play Talia, I know she's not the most popular champion to play, especially against Echo with his speed boost. You're hitting that, you're either getting lucky or you're just really fantastic at the pick. So shout out to Dove. This guy seems like he's on point for the playoffs.
That was all on his lonesome as well. No jungle attention involved there. Unflake needed a bit of time to settle himself after being really forced into an awkward spot in the jungle as Faker takes another trade. The changes are 10 damage at all levels for E, so that was very relevant in the level 2 all-in attempt, and the flash was down from that on Clip. Everett.
awkward spot here. He's going to get hit with the binding, but a nice slow onto on fleek means that he can't quite land the flag and drag.
They got a heal.
Yeah, Effort uses that just to get away.
To be
here.
clear, by the way, this is the most defensive summoner spell setup you can get bot lane. It's a nice little chase from Dove onto the walls here. Sandbox being very aggressive through the mid lane here. Nice to see from Dove, who's usually just a farming mid laner on an Azir or something like that.
Yeah.
But barrier heal with Karma Shields is the choice here to try to stain through the Draven, and probably plenty of bot lane attention. Everything was falling into place for SKT, but that kill, kind of manufactured in mid lane, has settled the jungle matchup and definitely ignited a very potentially exciting mid game here in game number 1.
It's just really cool to see that Dove, as you mentioned, Taliyah can be a big time, just farm up the mid lane, sit back, and try not to die against Echo. I mean, we mentioned before that matchup for Taliyah, it was a specific counter pick by Faker. Wanted to go for the Echo instead of the LeBlanc, and well, he was punished for it by Dove's great play. So we'll see if he can keep that up there in the mid lane, as on fleek hanging around this bottom side quite a lot in this game.
Remember how we've set up this game is on fleek again there and Brawl again. Electrocute proc already.
Yeah, immediate challenging smite, but Faker on the first roam. Here comes that Weaver's Wall, though, to cut them off. As Dove, wasn't first on the roam, but was able to get there on time with his ultimate.
If Sandbox have to invest a lot bot side to get what should already be a winning 2v2 because of Draven's power, doesn't matter about the support matchup as much there, then it means that potentially SKT will be able to exert their will on their counterpick solo laners. So that's kind of the duality here, is which team is getting enough for the scenarios they're in. If this game goes to a farm fest, it's 30 minutes in and we're equal gold, I think SKT have a lot of advantages to talk about, specifically Echo in a side lane versus Taliyah. Usually Taliyah is still in a great spot, whether you take a TP or not, because she has a global already, but Echo will make mincemeat out of Taliyah in a long lane as the game goes on with 2 or 3 items, a Lich Bane, a Protobelt, and more. So because of that, a lot of assignments, and the fact that Sylas, Renekton, and Echo will dive in and make Draven's life a living hell in a team fight, SKT have a lot of nice scaling to talk about, waiting for Sandbox to find a way to increase the pace of the game, which is not necessarily their calling card. We had the stat, the slowest win time of any team in the regular season.
Yeah, that is very true. Both these teams here take a while to win their games. We've been talking about a lot of other lanes that have had some action, but the top lane has been relatively quiet, almost exactly even on the CS. As we're looking at it right now, the Renekton generally good into the Aatrox. Khan trying to push this one forward with the Sylas around. Knows he's safe against the gank, but at the end of the day, just going to be a good trade.
Yeah, Renekton, when it comes to itemization, famously falls off. It's like a very known boilerplate point. Was more relevant back in the tank Renekton days, but Spear of Shojin means that he'll always have all-in options against Aatrox in the 1v1 with the removal of the Aatrox revive. And also, when it comes to 5v5, while he won't have one rotation, his job is to be another person to get double Ghost to Flash. So I think Aatrox is the sort of game where he'll always have a role going on in the game, unless the lane assignments get really weird, which is probably a result of Sandbox being far ahead. So I think this is definitely a comfortable game for SKT moving forward. Because of that, we're just looking for action, and maybe Infernal Drake will be the source of that action.
Surprised we haven't had any movement towards that just yet, as a bunch of pings come down onto the Infernal now with Faker roaming down. It'll be interesting to see how Faker does on another really aggressive mid lane pick. Has to ultimate away from the seismic shove there. Keep that in mind to see if any ganks do come in, as Dove looks like he's really on point with the Taliyah. Maybe something he practiced specifically for this matchup. But what I was saying was I'm very excited to see what other picks Faker is going to bring into the playoffs. He's known to be a very big playoff player who comes in and plays even better than he does in regular seasons in the playoffs. So bringing in all the cool picks as well. Only good stuff to follow, I hope.
It's nice that he has these pocket picks to answer expected picks from the enemy. We've got the answer to the Morgana, we've got the answer to the Taliyah. These are picks that multiple teams will be playing in the playoffs, and SKT seem prepped for them. I'm sure the Echo was prepped for good old Yukal in the wildcard match, but didn't have to be unleashed on that day. Move off steal here, does go the way of Sandbox.
Went on to On Fleek here, actually, with the flag and drag as he was getting out of there. Thinking about diving onto Joker with the two guys there on the blasting plants. Not really able to happen, but you can see the amount of focus right now that's on this Infernal Drake. Good vision so far for SKT. Deep vision for Sandbox, but none currently on the Infernal outside of that Rift Scuttler.
SKT see On Fleek on a ward. Echo has first rotation out of these lanes, still has strong wave clear, and a lot of Talia's nerfs were targeted towards that. So there are these windows where first rotation will come through. On Fleek spotted first camping around the Infernal, now onto his Raptors, and that actually means that SKT will get the start here. Wasn't actually spotted.
Notice how the Aerie hit Clid, and also the Dragon didn't pull out when Joker aggroed it, so they knew it was going on right now. And look at On Fleek, he's not in position right now to get on top of this Drake. Ghost thinking about it here with the steal, not quite able to do it as the smite comes in. And Clid and SKT will secure that first Infernal Drake.
Yeah, really nice macro setup there from SKT. They had On Fleek clearing Raptors on a ward. They used Faker's time to get first roam to counter him and to force him to use EQ defensively. That means he's not within smite range, and that means the Infernal is basically academic. So with their vision lead, they're able to set up a very nice scenario. Faker has his ultimate back up and just going to be throwing aggressive trades at Dove to make sure that no freeze can happen on this minion waves.
We got On Fleek nearby. You mentioned the ultimate being up, probably no kill there. Summit, really awkward spot here. He's going to try to run away with the movement speed towards the north. Actually will work out for him as he will escape from any doom of the Renekton.
Had a control ward to kite down to, so easily done there. See what it all means when it comes to something like the Rift Herald. We don't see any 10-minute Rift Herald rotations like other teams in the LCK are known for. CS for CS in top, CS for CS in mid, but most importantly for SKT, CS for CS in bot lane as well.
All right, maybe a bit of action here. On Fleek thinking about it, but looks like they're just grouping up with the Talia nearby with Weaver's Wall to try to set up a 3-on-2. As there's a control ward here, ward to the south, but I think Dove just went down the river, so probably wasn't spotted. And remember old Talia with the AoE Qs, those were the days. You mentioned the wave pushing. Still decent at it, actually. It's not terrible right now in the mid lane, but could be better from what we know. And it's not 10 minutes, but it's almost 13 as Sandbox. They're not going to get that first Dragon, but they're looking to take down Shelly here, and it looks like SKT will give it up, especially once they see Joker coming in.
And this is a really big win for Sandbox, so credit to them for setting this up. They had the eyes on Faker and interrupted his recall. They rotated first. And because of this, remember how when we were talking about how around this point, kind of level 9, level 10, as the mid game comes on, the lanes get a little bit tricky for Sandbox. Rift Herald should force SKT to respond to Sandbox's pressure. If they're showing up first with some decent item timings and a Talia to rotate between lanes, the outnumber and the potential trade-ups are real around this point in the game. So I'm going to be looking to Sandbox to go the next step here and use what are their tools that are getting into a pretty good spot in terms of skirmishes and outnumbers with the Rift Herald to try to get a pretty sizable advantage on SKT. But for now, Clid invading. They've tried to actually put a lot of pressure onto On Fleek in his jungle.
On Fleek can kite this back and take it down with the smite, but Clid thinking about getting in there, doesn't even bother to use his ultimate to get on top of On Fleek and steal that one away. You mentioned the aggressive trades. That's all Echo has to do over and over to try to push Dove out. But importantly, Dove has blue buff. But we're trying to set up a 4-man dive here. Dominus on Khan as we're going deep. Dove trying to skate away here. That was an amazing escape, actually, as now the Telecom going to come in. The flash now onto the Aatrox, but a lot of damage already coming out here. Summit has to back away, but in comes Joker from the back, and a big wabam cataclysm into the backside. But Faker able to do that first damage with the Echo, gets back in there. Perfect timing on the stopwatch, but still the Aatrox is going mad in the back line. gets those autos down, but eventually comes down as Teddy rotates up, and Ghost is still in the bot lane.
A 3 for 2 in the end for the side of SK Telecom. Sandbox try to make a fight work. A lot of trading places, a lot of ults thrown from long range. Ghost doesn't respond, and now he's pretty damn overextended.
Well, this is a bit awkward for him. He is going to avoid that stun, but can he get away from the damage? Already the feathers are out there, predicting the flash, and Teddy, very deservedly, will pick up that kill.
That was really nicely done from Teddy. Usually when we see those ultimates from Isaiah, they're not prediction ultimates. Sometimes they're in the wrong direction because they're panic ultimates. That one was calculated. Sandbox trying to get a push in the mid lane, but there's nowhere else for the Draven to flash to, otherwise he's dying to the Echo. So nicely engineered by the side of SKT. Ghost doesn't invest his time and goes down as insult upon injury in the end, a 4 for 2 trade. As we get to watch the replay here, and with the benefit of hindsight, I think Sandbox do quite a lot of good stuff, but they're never going to have as many members as the enemy. Clid actually steals the Morgana ultimate as Echo flew in for a lot of burst damage.
Baker, great timing on that one. You can see I say perfect timing a lot in the play-by-play, but there was actually a lot of stopwatches used as well in the fight. It was a critical one here early on in the game. This is the prediction on the feathers, just saying, I know you have to flash this way, let me set them up. And a nice little hug from the Zion.
Set up the pins, knock them down. That was the strike they were looking for. Here's a strike onto Infernal. TP gonna be forced.
And they're looking to turn right now onto that Renekton Khan, trying to get away, but Seismic Shove puts him in the grave. As SKT don't seem too worried about that. They come in, swoop in, smite away the dragon, and walk away with only one death. Not so bad.
And they're already getting in position to wave clear under the mid lane turret, which is the only acceptable trade of objectives on the side of Sandbox. They get some hits in. They need more than that. Rift Tower thrown down bot lanes. They should get a turret somewhere. This, of course, was one that was already very low in health. And here we go. Okay, so two turrets will go the way of Sandbox. They're looking for more.
Yeah, let's see here if they can get on top of Baker. He's just going to flash away. Not going to be fancy an ultimate or do anything like that. Gets away, but 2 turrets and a flash. I mean, that's not half bad for Sandbox now, who are going to take a lead in the gold at least, but the 2 Infernal Drakes, definitely a big thorn in their side.
And that's why I think it plays into the way we're building up this game, which is that's actually more than we initially expected Sandbox would get as a trade there. A kill and 2 turrets is definitely better than Infernal, but it does play into, liking where SKT is going, Sandbox actually get something now that they could return to. They can return to the scene of this crime with globals and actually use their current item spikes to get bigger and bigger leads. If this turns into a Baron because someone's too far down a long lane, Talia swoops in and they get a kill, that could be just a win condition for the side of Sandbox. But it's that conditional asterisk of they need to act on the initial gold and the longer lanes soon, otherwise things may swoop towards SKT favor.
Absolutely. Well, Sandbox has been a little bit passive in the early game, as has SKT, but hopefully they recognize their predicament and can get something going. Looks like a bit of a rotation up to the top lane is going to be the first line of objectives here for Ghost, at least, who will be joined by Joker eventually. Yeah, just waiting on that push. It'll be interesting to see what the Talia builds next. Did go for the pretty standard Merc Treads into the magic damage assassin with the Ludens, but see what she goes for. Maybe even a Banshee's Veil next.
I actually would love to pick your brain on this. If the viewers don't know, you're a very long-time Talia lover, jungle and mid lane.
Yes.
Do you pick Banshee to try to stave off a lot of inevitability, or do you go into something more aggressive and just play make, knowing the side lane will never be a happy place for you? It's kind of an interesting duality to consider, right? I think Banshee doesn't save you if you're too far down a lane against Echo, but you would understand it. However, a more aggressive item, if you do get those mid-game plays off, you nail them. So we're sitting here talking about scaling and being very clear. I'm sure in-game it's a lot more muddy for the players.
Yeah.
What would be your first instinct in a scenario like this?
So, especially because the enemy team has a lot of mobility, it's really Talia can do huge burst damage, or she can kind of just throw rocks at you and you know, have a game-changing ultimate, right? And knowing LCK players as well, I think he's just going to go straight Banshee Veil. I mean, it's almost always safety first for these mid lane Talia players that we do see in the LCK. So that would be my prediction here, and I think it does make sense given that you're dealing with not only the Echo, but the Sylas and a lot of stuns coming in. And
if I'm the in-game leader, if I'm on comms with Dove right now, I would tell him, screw LS, go Morellonomicon, get in there, and be super aggressive. Huge value from Morellonomicon against specifically Echo and Sylas. Renekton, too, has healing in his kit. And I don't think you're going to win the game because your Banshee means you don't have to, like, run instantly away from Echo the way you see him. So there's definitely two schools of thought. We'll be very interested to check in on what the decision is here.
Yeah, and it's not a bad idea either, especially because she has no penetration right now with the Merc Treads, right? When I'm playing solo queue, I go Sork Boots and an early Oblivion Orb, right? For all of that burst damage from the jungle, that is for sure. And, well, enough about Talia. We got to talk about this Aatrox, who is in a bit of a wonky spot. We got Joker and Onfleet coming on down, though, turning into a bit of a 3-on-4.
Talia can't be there. Only person here, Talia, Ghost, can't be there. Everyone from SKT could be there. If Sandbox chase any further, it's just suicide. They can't actually rotate their members over. So smart that they pull away. Ghost actually going to put down a cheeky control ward. Sandbox seeing what they can shake and make happen. SKT, for now, just happy to pick up their buffs.
Yeah, things are going to stay here at 4-4. You talked about this long lane against the Echo.
Oh, it's scary.
It's rough. You know, you have to definitely keep your distance if you're Talia. You want to stay and use that passive on the walls and not necessarily engage the Echo in combat, but, well, he got a little bit too close to the sun here. And Dove might be regretting his decision as Faker's going in under the turret, one-on-one. We got a Sylas coming in as the ultimate is going to be used. Heal comes on down from Dove. Nice flash away, but do they have the damage? Morgana comes in and will save her life at the last possible second as the dive will not go well. We do have another kill actually in the top side as we're trying to get the full zoom out. Faker all alone, taken down by Ghost and Summit on the Aatrox. That's now 2 kills for the side of Sandbox, and SKT are literally in the middle of nowhere.
They're just trying to run around and cause distractions because 2 of their members have gone down. Another seismic shove. This guy's a monster on the Talia.
Is unbelievable
on the Baron.
Yeah, they're just going for it. They have really insane Baron damage here.
What do we say?
Especially with the Talia.
Use your long lanes and find a way to get a Baron. That's your win condition. They're on to the Baron. Can SKT respond?
Well, we got Khan coming in here, level 13. He's got a full rage bar. We do have the jungler coming in. Clid trying to make it happen. Stun comes down already onto the Morgana, who gets burst down. And with the teleport being used by Faker, it's too early in the game. They tried to go for it, but they didn't quite have the damage there. And so SKT will stop the Baron.
Sandbox trying to stop losing the mid lane turret as well, as already primed is the parallel convergence. Lot happened in that moment. It seemed like it might be a death knell to one team, but then it gets evened out. That's the sort of action we were looking for from Sandbox exactly when it happens, and it's only possible because no one could be more of a monster in the side lane than Dove was. Echo has such a winning matchup in a long lane, and yet the outplay onto 2 members here was insane. We're going to watch the replay. Because remember, when do you flash, when do you heal as a consideration? Walks out, and the only reason Faker ults out is because Sylas is here to mop up the kill. They assume it's going to be a freebie as Clid runs in. First a heal for movement speed, then a flash away, and seismic shove. How do you press your button so damn well, you might ask? TP in from Aatrox, they get the kill onto Faker. And you know what the best part is? He didn't go for the Banshee Veil. He built the Morellonomicon. He knows which way is up.
It ends up being a smart decision here as nice, take it slow was the comms here from Joker, but didn't end up taking it slow enough as he got burst down himself there, just trying to zone away the side of SKT from their Baron attempt.
Relanomakon is done. Means that when he gets that pick, when his team is there to back him up, they should have the lethal damage on Faker, on Clid, on these healing members of SKT. But in those same scenarios, if Echo finds him again with no summoners, doesn't matter. Talia, the Rock Lady, is dead. Rest in peace, Pepe Hands, for her. So because of that, you need to play to your item choices here. I do not want to see Talia in a long lane get solo killed by an Echo. And here is Talia, like we mentioned, going for a combo play.
This is what I was talking about. You can change the game here, especially in Pro. Nice dash away from that seismic shove. He is going to flash too. The chase still on here as Summit is going to umbral dash forward, but now Teddy coming in. Summit, did he go too far? It looks like no. Teddy will be able to stave them off for now.
No chase potential there. Don't want to chase too far a second time. Sandbox could have over-chased. While they have things like Weaver as well, Summit used his TP. There are no other teleports on this team. SKT a lot more maneuverable in that regard. And this is such a high-tension moment in just game one of a best-of-5. Sandbox playing their first LCK best-of-5. As we've talked about a couple of times. SK Telecom T1. They'll be confident. I think both teams are happy where they are. Could have been way worse at 25 minutes, but again, a lot of our predictions are that in 10 minutes from now, that's where things get a little bit more red side favor.
So SKT holding on for that moment as Dove, the last time that he got engaged on by Faker, he was at max Q range and he thought he was safe. The answer was he wasn't safe, and that was before even Echo gets more and more of these less utility items and more burst damage items, which he will be going for in items number 3 and 4 eventually. But yeah, it's pretty rough for her in that side lane, so we'll see what she can do.
Cute choice here by Effort. I've never seen this before, at least not since like kind of older Redemption power level times. But
yeah.
Going Redemption here actually helps against all the sideline plays that Talia's making. The
We're
ability to have a
trying to
semi-global.
engage here on Fleek, but Faker in a really awkward spot here. Seismic shove nearly on the timing. Faker is going to have to flash away. Uses everything. Weaver's Wall comes in, tries to bait them into the corner. Teddy has to flash away too. Summit frontlining for now is going to be able to do a good job of just leading the team front to back. Ghost trying to start up this Infernal Drake. It's a huge objective. You cannot let SKT get a third one.
Trade of flashes, Teddy's flash for Onflakes. So something to remember is that both big carries here have no summoners when it comes to flash. Drake's going to stay leashed. This is one Sandbox should want to fight. A binding here from Joker is actually going to be a killer onto Teddy.
Oh, Summit going in once again. Stopwatch is going to be down here, but he has to flash away in the smite. It goes to Clid. SKT now a triple Infernal. The binding going to come down onto the Renekton, but Sandbox can't get anything else after that one. The stun comes in. Clid trying to force this again. Already a lot of AoE damage coming on in. But they're still taking it very, very slow. Faker now with full health, trying to lead the charge in here. Can't quite get a kill just yet. As Khan against Summit, one-on-one, but now Clid comes in, and it's gonna ruin their party as the 2-on-1 will get the kill.
Oh.
And Dove immediately gonna take away that Zaya, and all of a sudden the fight is gonna be turned. Faker here has his ultimate, trying to come back to his teammates. Will be able to do that, and now a teleport comes in. And Sandbox is trying to run away as much as possible on Fleek. Looks like he will get that flag and drag just on time. That's now Ghost going one-on-one here. Couple of crits could do it. He's flashing in. He'll get one. And that is why this guy is 8-2 on the Draven for now. And the action never seems to end as Ghost is still on the run.
Exactly, he's trying to just tank aggro to allow for the resets. They don't have the teleport SKT does. Melee range though, Draven versus Renekton. Resume your lungs. I think you can hold on to it for this one, Valdez, because ends up with Renekton getting the takedown there. It could have been more losses for Sandbox. Going aggro first as Talia, being able to flip off, I guess you would say, to Teddy and get the kill there, and then Ghost going aggro means no Baron is there from SKT, but what will always be there till the end of this game is triple Infernals after Clid's secure.
And the Infernal buff, that is percentage buff to your entire team's AD or AP. And, well, as the game comes along and you get more of it, that percentage will equal more. A fantastic late game Dragon. And the most preferred in the game. And now SKT has got 3 of them with a pretty high damage composition, especially with that Echo in the mid lane. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, Dove, for me, has been the MVP so far of Sandbox, but can he do this alone as 3 and 4?
Now, something to mention. All summoners, when it comes to flashes, except for Doves, are on cooldown on both teams, and there's a lot of pick CC. So the next moments are actually higher tension than perhaps both teams appreciate. Clear wall to stop this being the mid lane turret going down. How frustrating. Mid lane turret still up at 30 minutes for SKT to deal with.
That's definitely something that they should have been able to take down earlier, but just never found the opportunity, as this game has been pretty action-packed, even though the kills are 16 here at 30 minutes in total.
Gold lead 300 for Sandbox, but 3 Infernals means the implied lead is there, and we already said that we like Sandbox's scaling potential and where team fights will look. Those team fights are even more one-sided if flashes are on cooldown for the Draven and the Talia. Right now, Draven, the only one, he was the last person to flash, I believe, in the previous fight. So, a pick here will be big on both sides.
Ghost, did you just walk too far? In comes the Silas on his own wall that he stole earlier on, and they have the damage to take out 2, make it 3. 3 times the charm for the side of SKT. They make that pick happen with the Silas coming in from downtown.
Somehow, Silas the better Rock Lady than the Rock Lady herself, and SKT will roll down mid lane and get, at minimum, an inhibitor in Baron. Who knows if they want to try to end the game with the 3 Infernals, the Death Timers.
They're thinking about it, you can tell. It's only Dove and Summit.
They would have to kill Dove, though, so maybe just get the free Baron here for SKT. A lot of wards, though, to spot them here. Let's see how SKT read this scenario.
Yeah, we got 3 seconds on Joker, 7 right now on Ghost, and 4 on Fleek. So you best be pretty comfortable in the amount of Baron damage you have. They are going to go for it here now as Effort clears it out.
Leave wall available, but the smite's not going to be in range.
Yeah, that's not Jungle Talia. Keep that in mind. Summit trying to go in. Can they have the burst damage? No, the smite will be good as it goes in, but who is going to be going down? First, Clid is going to be the only death, but Summit still on the chase. And here comes Dove into 3 of them, actually, and it's going to be immediately decimated as he's just trying desperately to chase him down. And now Ghost in the front line against an Echo will not be able to stand up to him. As another fight in the top side, Faker gonna go 1v3 at this point as he still has his ultimate. Takes out 2 and will be going here onto Fleek. Nice knock-up, but still, this is an Echo, and you know the party never ends if you're an Echo player. As another kill comes down, and SKT with the Baron will push.
And SKT have gotten over the line. This will be a Game 1 victory for them. Just too good in the clutch. We talked about how these teams both had overlapping ways to play the game. When it came to making those calls, to finding their man, SKT were just that much better in the clutch. And in the clutch, SKT take a 1-game lead in our best of 5.
That they will. They're going to take it down here at about 33 minutes GG as SKT